Book title: The Kybalion by the Three Initiates. Before science learned to weigh atoms and map galaxies, there were whispers in temple corridors about laws you could not touch, yet could feel shaping every breath of the world. They called them Hermetic Principles, 7 invisible foundations said to govern everything that moves, grows, fades, and returns. A small anonymous book appeared in 1908, humble in size but immense in implication, claiming to gather those laws into one teaching, the Kybalion. It spoke like a key turning in an ancient door. The all is mind. The universe is mental. As above, so below. Nothing rests. Everything vibrates. If this is true, then matter is condensed thought. Fortune is the echo of inner alignment. And reality itself is a conversation between the silent and the seen. Welcome to Sethtra Audiobook, where books speak and wisdom lives. Tonight, let the noise fall behind you. We will not chase power. We will study law. We will not beg for miracles. We will cooperate with order. If you've ever suspected that life is not chaos but choreography, you're in the right company. Take a breath. Step into the invisible architecture. Introduction. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, is less a single man than a lineage of insight. The Egyptian sage whose name became a banner for teachings that braided philosophy, mysticism, and proto-science into one thread. Whether Hermes was one master or many, the tradition attributed to him refuses to die because it refuses to flatter us. It simply explains us. The three initiates who published the Kybalion did not beg belief. They offered principles and invited practice. Observe your thought and watch your world. Shift your inner rhythm and watch your outer calendar change. The book's tone is plain, nearly severe, because it speaks to the part of you that is already sovereign. If superstition asks you to obey, Hermeticism asks you to understand. To live by these laws is not to escape reality, but to enter it fully. Eyes open, hands steady, heart clean. In this long meditation, we'll move through the 7 principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, not as slogans, but as instruments. We'll hold them to the light of daily life, love and conflict, wealth and loss, creativity and despair. Between sections, we'll pause, breathe, and let the law settle into the nervous system. You're not collecting ideas. You're tuning an instrument, the mind through which the infinite becomes specific. Part 1. The Principle of Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. With this, the Kybalion starts where most philosophies end. If the root of reality is mind, then everything visible is a condensation of the invisible. Patterns of thought slowed into form. Your mind is not a spectator trapped in a material theater. It is a lens that bends the play. This does not mean you are a private god pressing buttons in secret. It means you are a point of participation in a field of living intelligence, and your dominant inner pictures, married to feeling, issue invitations the world keeps accepting. There is a gentleness hidden in this severity. If life is mental in origin, you are not cursed by fate, but coached by feedback. The circumstance you meet is not a verdict. It is a mirror. Change the picture, and in time the reflection obeys. Argue with the mirror and you will exhaust yourself. Adjust the light and the room changes without a fight. Begin not with, "Why is this happening to me?" but, "What persistent image in me makes this necessary?" The answer will not always flatter you, but it will free you. Practice, silent, unhurried. Sit still. Name one recurring condition you dislike. Without blame, ask what image of self, other, or life you've been feeding that would naturally produce such a condition. Replace it with a clean, simple picture that carries no struggle, only order. Hold it lightly, like a flame cupped from wind. Return to it morning and night. Do not wrench reality into place. Align it. Interlude 1. The Quiet Lens. Close your eyes for 3 breaths. Imagine your mind as clear glass. See dust, old judgments, stale fears, float and settle. With your next exhale, the glass becomes pure again. Through that clean pane, the same world looks merciful. Part 2. The Principle of Correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above. Patterns repeat because intelligence repeats itself through scale. The spiral of a galaxy lives inside the curl of a fern. The tides of oceans whisper in your moods. What appears separate is kin under a different magnification. You are not outside the cosmos. You are the cosmos in a small, articulate gesture. When your inner world is disorderly, your outer day picks up the rhythm. When your inner speech is clean, your hour hands begin to glide. Use correspondence as a diagnostic and a design. If your desk is a battlefield, examine your attention. If your relationships echo the same argument with new faces, check the script you keep handing every actor. If your finances breathe in gasps and spurts, listen for the belief that money must be chased and punished. The law is not insulted by your confusion. It is patient. It repeats the lesson until you learn the pattern. Application. Before you fix an outer mess, correct the inner ratio. Choose one domain: time, money, love, health. Write a one-sentence inner law you've been living. I must prove. There's never enough. I'm heard only if I shout. Replace it with a lawful correspondence. Value expressed becomes value returned. I move in sufficiency. Quiet clarity is magnetic. Keep this sentence near your work. The day will begin to rhyme with it. Interlude 2. The Small Temple. Look at your hand. 5 lines, 5 laws, a portable temple. The macrocosm folded into the palm. When you lift a cup, a constellation lifts with you. Part 3. The Principle of Vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Between stone and symphony, there is only rate. Slow vibration appears as matter. Quicker vibration appears as thought. Quicker still as love, insight, prayer. You do not escape a problem by wrestling it to the floor of its own frequency. You rise out of it by changing your rate. Quieter breath, kinder word, cleaner intention. Anxiety vibrates sticky and low. It collects static and coincidence that confirm it. Gratitude runs bright and high. It arranges encounters you did not earn by effort, but received by resonance. To change vibration is to change probability. Music knows this always. The key signature you choose decides which notes sound like home. Choose the key of resentment and the day will find dissonance. Choose the key of generosity and the same notes resolve. Training the instrument. Treat your body as a tuning fork. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Speak a sentence you wish were true in a tone that carries no pleading, only fact. Calm clarity governs this hour. Feel for a small physical click inside, jaw softening, belly settling. That is not placebo. It is physics in flesh. You just moved your rate. Interlude 3. The Clear Tone. Say nothing for a minute. Let your attention rest on the space between sounds, the air that allows any note at all. That space is the mother of every music you will play today. Part 4. The Principle of Polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Hot and cold are not enemies. They are neighbors on one line of temperature. Love and hate are not separate species. They are intensities of related energy aimed in different directions. The law of polarity does not ask you to approve of pain. It asks you to understand degree. When you label a mood final, I am broken, you freeze at 1 mark on the scale. When you remember degree, I am at a low reading, movement returns. Emotional alchemy is not denial. It is re-aiming. Anger is the raw electricity of care with a short circuit. Reconnect it to protection and courage, and the same current lights a house. Envy is love for possibility, kinked towards scarcity. Straighten the wire into admiration and strategy, and the current empowers growth. You do not get rid of a pole. You conduct it toward its higher reading. Transmutation. Name the state: fear, fatigue, bitterness. Identify the line it lives on: fear, courage; fatigue, rested strength; bitterness, clarity. Perform one small act that belongs to the higher pole, even if feeling lags behind. Write the difficult email with grace. Drink water. Tell the truth once without theater. Polarity bends to repeated placement, not dramatic vows. Interlude 4, the middle of the line. Imagine a sliding dimmer. Place your thumb in the center and move it one quiet notch toward light. That is all the law asks for today. One notch, consistently. Part 5. The Principle of Rhythm. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. The pendulum is not your enemy. It is your metronome. Expansion invites contraction, not as punishment, but as integration. The night is not the failure of the day. It is its keeper. When you demand permanent summer, constant output, non-stop ascent, you break in places the law could have strengthened you. Rhythm means seasons: sowing, tending, harvest, fallow. In the fallow, nothing happens, and everything root deepens. Learn to rest on purpose so you are not forced to rest by crisis. If you anchor your identity to one phase, I am only valuable when I'm producing, the swing back feels like death. If you respect the whole arc, the backswing becomes breath. Working with the swing. Watch your week. Notice the crest days when conversation is easy and decisions are clean. Notice the trough days when you move slower and doubt grows teeth. Place expressive tasks on crests. Place maintenance and learning in troughs. This is not laziness, it is navigation. Sailors who fight the tide drown. Sailors who time the tide arrive. Interlude 5. The held note. A choir holds a long note until the room itself begins to sing back. That echo is rhythm saying, I heard you. Hold your intention long enough for the world to answer. Part 6. The Principle of Cause and Effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Chance is a word for patterns we haven't mapped yet. To live at the mercy of causes you don't notice is to feel cursed. To move upstream and plant causes you do understand is to feel blessed. The universe is not a judge with moods, it is a ledger without bias. This is less romantic than fate and far kinder. You cannot violate this law, but you can relocate within it. Most people live at the effect end of the chain, complaining about weather they created 3 choices ago. Masters walk a little earlier into the sequence and nudge the first domino. A clear boundary, a clean schedule, a chosen story. Each small cause you repeat becomes character. Character becomes likelihood. Likelihood looks like luck to those who weren't there when you laid the first tile. Causation in the wild. Before you enter a room, decide the tone you will carry as if it were a climate. Will be thorough and kind. Watch how the meeting mysteriously follows it. When anger surges, don't argue with the flame. Turn off the gas, step away, breathe, speak later. You didn't conquer rage, you removed fuel. This is cause, not theater. Interlude 6. The invisible domino. Picture a long row of dominoes. Instead of pushing the one in front of you, walk backward in your mind until you find the first piece. Touch that one with 2 fingers. Hear the chain change. Part 7. The Principle of Gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has masculine and feminine principles. In Hermetic language, gender names functions, not bodies. The feminine receives, conceives, gestates, nourishes. Intuition, imagination, empathy, the womb of ideas. The masculine chooses, aims, structures, protects. Decision, direction, delivery, the spine of expression. Creation requires both, seed and soil, word and silence, sun and moon. Imbalance distorts. Unchecked masculine becomes brittle control, plans without listening, force without wisdom. Unchecked feminine becomes endless possibility with no incarnation, vision without boundary, compassion without discernment. Harmonize them and life begins to come through you with ease. Listen deeply, then decide cleanly. Imagine widely, then frame tightly. Receive the whisper, then sign the contract. Union in practice. Start each project in the feminine. Sit quietly and ask, what wants to be born through me? Write the answer without editing. Then bring the masculine. 3 next actions, 1 honest deadline, 1 boundary that protects the work. Return to the feminine weekly to receive adjustment. Return to the masculine daily to keep your word. You are now creating like the world creates. Integration. The seven as one movement. Hold the laws together and you hear a single song. Mentalism names the studio where reality is recorded. Correspondence maps how motifs repeat across tracks. Vibration tunes the instruments. Polarity gives harmony its tension and release. Rhythm conducts the tempo of scenes. Cause and effect handles production. What we track is what we'll hear. Gender is the duet, the call and response of listening and doing. When you live like this, spirituality stops being a separate room labeled special and becomes the floor of the house. You won't need to control people. You'll cooperate with principle. You won't panic when winter comes. You'll store and study. You won't despise your anger. You'll refine it into courage. You won't worship luck. You'll trace sequences and plant better ones. Slowly, without spectacle, your days will start to feel composed. Not perfect, composed. The noise will still exist, but it won't own the mix. Practice cycle, a week of hermetic living. Day 1, Mentalism, 10 minutes of image hygiene. Replace one intrusive picture with a kinder, cleaner frame. Day 2, Correspondence. Organize one drawer and one thought. Let them rhyme. Day 3, Vibration. Speak only in tones you won't need to apologize for. Breathe longer on the exhale. Day 4, Polarity. Transmute one emotion by doing the smallest action from its higher pole. Day 5, Rhythm. Schedule rest on purpose. Protect it like income. Day 6, Cause and Effect. Plant 3 first domino causes for next week. Day 7, Gender. Receive in silence for 20 minutes. Decide one thing clearly. Repeat, not dramatically, faithfully. Closing summary. The Kybalion does not charm, it calibrates. It tells you that the world is not a tantrum but a teaching, not a roulette wheel but a grammar. If you will learn the alphabet, mind, mirror, motion, degree, tide, chain, duet, you can begin to write your days with fewer erasures. You will still grieve because love makes that law. You will still fail because growth does not skip winter. But you will not be confused about where to stand when storms come. You will stand where the laws are friendly, at the level of cause, at the center of rhythm, at the meeting of masculine clarity and feminine care, in a vibration chosen on purpose, repeating a correspondence you would gladly see copied by your children. That is not control. That is citizenship in a lawful universe. Ending message. Books like the Kybalion do not grant power. They restore it to its rightful custodian. A steady mind housed in a human heart. Tonight, let the principles walk the room with you as you put away the day. When fear taps your shoulder, answer with degree. When noise demands reaction, answer with rhythm. When confusion clouds the air, answer with correspondence. And when a good idea knocks like soft rain, open the feminine window and let it in, then invite the masculine to build the roof that shelters it. You are listening to Sethtra Audiobook, where books speak and wisdom lives. If this exploration clarified something you always felt but could not name, subscribe and share it with one person who's ready to swap superstition for law. The next voice we revive may place the final piece, or remove the last obstacle. Until then, walk gently and deliberately. The law is not watching you. The law is working through you.